Alright, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of TEW Local to Gold 1987. We're back with some GCW. And let's get straight into Fuel. But before we begin, I have a small announcement, I should say. I bought TEW9, the new one, which means that GCW is going to be moving once again to another game, the most updated one. I've been playing around with it a little bit, trying to get used to the new mechanics, new angle system, new creative team, stuff like that. And I just have to adapt the current mod, change a few things, which is going to take me a little bit. So I plan to move this database to TEW9, and we'll probably begin after Summer Showdown, guaranteed after Summer Showdown. I might even have to push it until after Halloween Hell. But it's at least going to be until after Summer Showdown. So we've got 2 more episodes on TEW2020. One is right now and the next one, before we move. Alright? So, enough with that. Let's get on to GCW. So Dustin Rhodes comes out, and he's getting a promo, and the Syndicate come out after just having turned on Dustin last night at War in Wales. Steve Austin leads the pack down to the ring, and it's interesting because both these guys have advanced in the Summer Series. Dustin and Steve Austin have both made it past the first round. They're in 2 different brackets completely, but that is fine. We still have the last first round matches on this episode of Saturday Night's Wrestling. Those are Stevie Ray versus Buff Bagwell, and Booker T versus what used to be Chris Candido, who is now injured. He's going to be replaced by John Cronus now he's just Cronus, but he's going to be replaced by Cronus from The Flock. Anyway, so Dustin getting a promo, Syndicate comes out. Bunch of bullshit. Satoshi Kojima is in action, and he pulls off an 85. Kojima is just unreal in the ring. You know, he's been pulling off great numbers, and it's a shame that I don't really have plans for him at the moment. He's in Battle Pro Initiative, but apart from that, I have like a slight idea of what to do with him. But for the time being, he's just going to meddle in the mid card and just put on good matches, I guess. So gets an 80 because I don't know anything about his promos. I don't know if he's good on the mic yet. I haven't really tested him there. I'm waiting to see if he'll learn English first. But for the time being, that's where he is. Booker T is backstage, and he's cutting a promo, and he is going to he promises to advance and defeat Cronus this Saturday night, even though the show is on Wednesday, but it's broadcasting on Saturday. He will defeat him, and he will advance to the quarterfinals of the Summer Series 68. We're in the ring with the Latino World Order, Eddie Guerrero, who's fresh off winning the Cruiserweight Championship last night at War in Wales, and he's accompanied by Juventud, Hector Garza, Super Calo, and Aguia. And Matt and Jeff Hardy come out for some reason. The LW talking shit. Eddie says there's no one left to challenge him, and yeah, the Hardys come out. And we don't really know much about the Hardys at this point. They're not really too popular. They've had, I think, 1 TV match against Too Cool. Pretty sure. Where they actually won. And they had a couple matches on Saturday Night's Wrestling, of course, but not much is known about them. And Matt Hardy challenges Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship right here, right now. Well, Eddie's not going to, he's not going to turn down the challenge from some no-name jobber like Matt Hardy, so he accepts, and Matt Hardy pins Eddie Guerrero, and Matt Hardy wins the Cruiserweight Championship in 9 minutes 46 seconds. It keeps Eddie strong, obviously. Probably some shit happens. Matt rolls him up and, wins the Cruiserweight Championship, but still, it's a 59. Moving on from that, we're with another new champion from last night, Perry Saturn, and he's the TV champion, but he announces that next week will be his coronation as the new television champion in the ring with the Flock. So we'll have to see what that's about next week. DDP comes down to the ring and he cuts a promo. Both he and Steve Austin have advanced in the Summer Series, which means they will be facing off in the quarterfinals in 2 weeks' time. Next week is Dustin Rhodes versus Farouk and Lance Storm versus Chris Jericho. And the week after is going to be DDP versus Steve Austin and the winner of Stevie Ray and Buff Bagwell and the winner of Booker T and Cronus. But, DDP, he's been looking forward to his match with Steve Austin, and he's finally going to get it in 2 weeks' time on the main event of Fuel. So, gets a 100. In-ring action with a triple threat match. Al Snow, Jerry Lynn, and Chris Jericho. I needed a filler match, and I figured a nice triple threat would do the job. So Al Snow and Chris Jericho have a little mini feud going on. It ended pretty much last night, but there's still some tension there. And just to throw Jerry Lynn in there, give him something to do. And Chris Jericho submits Jerry Lynn with a lion tamer, and Jericho, of course, is competing next week on Fuel. In the Summer Series, he's facing Lance Storm of Battle Pro Initiative. So it gets an 80. Great in-ring action tonight. Great promos as well. I click next segment. Didn't go. There you go. Billy Gunn and Road Dogg come out. The New Age Outlaws. They're cutting a promo. They lost their tag team titles last night to Show Rock, who come out with the commissioner of GCW, Johnny Valiant. And the New Age Outlaws riled them up just enough so that Johnny Valiant books Show Rock versus the New Age Outlaws in a street fight tag team match next week for the World Tag Team Championships. Gets a 69. We're in the ring with the Nation of Domination, Farouk, The Rock, D'Lo, Stevie Ray, and Chris Benoit, the leader of Battle Pro Initiative. Well, they don't really have a leader, but like the main guy. Chris Benoit of Battle Pro Initiative comes out, and he wants his rematch against The Rock because, was unfair what happened last night. And The Rock accepts under the condition that Chris Benoit defeat D'Lo Brown, Kama Mustafa, and Stevie Ray in 3 different singles matches over the next 3 weeks. And Chris Benoit accepts. So, yeah, I don't remember what he's doing next week. I think it's D'Lo he's facing next week. No, it's Kama. So Chris Benoit versus Kama Mustafa next week. On the week after, it's going to be Chris Benoit versus D'Lo Brown, and then after that, it's going to be Stevie Ray. So it gets a 94. And this is your main event match, but we still have an angle after this. DDP gets a victory over Mortis with a diamond cutter. I just needed a filler match for the main event, because the main event is this segment right here. The Undertaker and Paul Bearer, the new GCW World Champion, The Undertaker, they're cutting a promo. And Sting comes out, and he comes out to brawl with The Undertaker to end the show with a 90. Great show. Great episode of Fuel. So let's see. And we have risen to big, and Mankind has returned. GCW is big-sized. Let's go. Now we need to stay at this size. That's going to be tough, but you know what? That's fine. Broadcasting. Since we're here, we might as well look what the. So we're at the USA Network. We still got 2 years on that deal. Damn. Okay, well, 2-year deal. After that, we can sign a contract which will begin. Not cable commercial, terrestrial commercial. Which will begin our deal after the USA Network deal is over. So let's see if there's anything better than big all over the United States. Univision. Great deal right here. And where is that? Is that Mexico? It is. Okay, so we can go to Univision. I'm not going to go TNN. I want to keep at least big all over the US. Big size all over the US. Nickelodeon, MTV, Movie Time. It's not looking good for the US. So Univision is probably our best option, because then we can expand to Mexico as well. Anything in free to air? Oh, there you go. These are local. Telemundo is pretty nice, but it would require us to go down. PBS. Yeah, these are just local stations for the most part. So I think Univision is the move for Fuel after our deal. And they would pay us. They would pay us a fair amount of money for the shows. Unless, yeah, okay. Exclusive right. Can we go to prime time? We can go to prime time, but we would need to pull off an 89, which I don't think we can. Not consistently, at least. I can do mid-80s. I can do 85 pretty consistently, but I don't think I can do 89. Let's go to... But look at... Oh, that money would be nice, though. I think we're ahead going to evening. And signing a 3-year deal with Univision. And then after... Yeah, okay. So, we're going to sign that. So now, once our deal with the USA Network ends in 2 years, so in 1998, our deal with Univision would begin, and that would last for 3 years. We would get some coverage and we'd get paid, and then we would be able to expand to Mexico. Hopefully this is not a mistake. Let's see who wouldn't negotiate. So ABC would be nice, but I don't think we're gonna, yeah. Large, it's not actually not that bad, but what do we need for large? 71 through Canada or Canada we're not gonna do. In Mexico we're not gonna do until we have coverage there, so that we're not getting to large anytime soon. I assume it's the same for this one, yeah. I don't want to go to Disney anyway. Fox is only USA. Fox Sports is NBC. NBC is possible. Maybe I should have waited for NBC. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we just needed Northwest at 72 to get a deal with NBC. But they already have Raw, and I kind of want... Maybe I should have waited. Yeah, that might be a mistake on my part, but whatever. We'll go with Univision. We'll expand to Mexico, and then when we're done with Univision, we'll go to NBC, and we'll expand to Canada. Let's check the pay-per-view providers. This is what happens when we go up in size, guys. Where is this? This is British Isles. Let's see what we can do there. So this episode's going to be a little longer because I still have one more show to book. But it's fine because at least you guys can see a little bit more of what's going on in GCW and what happens when we go in size. When we go up in size. Okay, so it's not... So it doesn't look like we can do anything for this one. This is Japan. Let's check Japan. In Japan. And I think we're better sticking with TNC Sports. Okay. So this is fine. We got a deal with Univision that's going to begin in 2 years. And that deal is going to be good for 3 years. So our broadcasting for Fuel is good for the next 5 years. We're committed to hosting a weekly episode of Fuel for the next 5 years, which is fine. This is my Monday Night Raw, so I don't need to worry about that. Let's worry about pay-per-view now. So pay-per-view in the US. I've got 2 of them. So let's see, it's cable pay-per-view in the USA. Let's see what I can get here. So this is the one I'm currently with. I'm with Cablevision. I can get Cox. I get Dish, MediaCon, Time Warner. So I think the Dish Network is probably the best. What about the British Isles? Okay. I'm currently with TeleWest. So NTL would probably be better. Do I have coverage in... I don't have coverage in Europe, so that would be perfect. Alright, I'm going to worry about this because the episode's getting way too long, so I'm going to worry about this. I'm going to take care of it, and then I'll come back and we'll show you the results of the next fuel, and I'll tell you what I did with it at the end of the episode. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, we've returned. So, what happened at Saturday Night's Wrestling? I'm going to show you. So, Buff Bagwell and Stevie Ray were supposed to face off in the Summer Series matchup, but Buff Bagwell forfeit his spot in the Summer Series, and Stevie Ray just moves on. So, I guess he gets a bye to the quarterfinals, where he'll face Booker T, who defeated Cronus. And so, here is the quarterfinals. Dustin Rhodes versus Farouk, which is happening tonight on Fuel. Lance Storm versus Chris Jericho, which is also happening tonight. Steve Austin versus Diamond Dallas Page next week. And Stevie Ray versus Booker T next week as well. So let's get straight into Fuel. We open the show with Sting, and he gets a promo, and Mankind makes his return. And, they come to an agreement that they'll face off in 2 weeks, with the winner getting Undertaker at Summer Showdown. Because they both want to get their hands on the Undertaker. Sting because he just lost his world title, and Mankind for being put on the shelf by the Undertaker a couple months ago. So 94, we open the show with Lance Storm versus Chris Jericho matchup for the Summer Series, and Chris Jericho advances. We're in Madison Square Garden today, and we did not fill it out. I thought we were going to do it, 20,000, but overestimated what we could do. But that's okay. Chris Jericho gets the victory, and he advances in the Summer Series. He'll face either Dustin Rhodes or Farouk in the semifinals. So gets an 81. Gene Okerlund is interviewing the Hardys, and Matt is happy because he's the new Cruiserweight champion. And then we cut to backstage with the LW watching the television, and Eddie is pissed, and he yells at his members of the LWO, "Where the hell were you guys? Why didn't you help me retain the Cruiserweight Championship?" And they all, don't really know what to say. Gets a 66. We move on to the Street Fight Tag Team match for the Tag Team titles, and the New Age Outlaws once again claim the tag titles for themselves, and it gets an 83. So once again, the New Age Outlaws champions. We're in the ring with the Perry Saturn Coronation, and Raven makes his return to GCW after returning from injury. How long was he out? Like a year and a half, 2 years? I think it's a year and a half. Raven returns, and all the members bow to Raven, and he is awarded the television championship, which means new TV champion. So 2 new champions crowned tonight. It's an 82. Chris Benoit versus Kama. I really did not expect a 90 here, but whatever. Chris Benoit defeats Kama Mustafa in 950 with a crippler crossface, which means Chris Benoit is one step closer to getting a rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. Next week he faces D'Lo Brown, gets a 90. Booker T and Stevie Ray, they're cutting promos against each other, and this means that next week they'll be facing each other in the Summer Series quarterfinals. And who else is facing each other next week? That's right, Steve Austin versus Diamond Dallas Page. Big main event next week, 83 for this one. Our main event did not do as good as I hoped, but that's okay. Dustin Rhodes defeats Farouk, which means he advances in the Summer Series. He'll face Chris Jericho in the semifinals, which will be taking place at Summer Showdown. Gets a 76. And to end the show, Steve Austin comes out and he stuns Dustin Rhodes. And that's how we end our show and this episode. Because it took way longer than I wanted to talk about Rising to Big Size and talking about the broadcasters and those issues. 3.26, very good. By the way, we are second in the world. If we come over here and go to Company Wars, we are bigger than WCW. We are below the WWF, of course. They're way too big. I can't compete with that at the moment. Shawn Michaels is the Intercontinental Champion. He just won that, I guess. Kerry Von Erichs, the world champion. Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, tag team champions. Let's check WCW while we're here. Kensuke Sasaki. Ah, God, I've built so many talents for these two companies. Larry Zbyszko, Hercules Ayala, and Jim Duggan. Anyway, we are second biggest in the entire world. We are second in the US, second in Canada. In Mexico, we're in 6th. British Isles, we're 3rd. Japan, we're 1st. Europe, we're 3rd. And that's it. So, thank you guys for watching this episode of GCW. Make sure to like if you like this video, subscribe if you want more, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.